For various reasons, you may need to replace a existing UniFi Protect camera with another one of the same model. Naturally, you expect the process to be very smooth, which means first, you want the configurations to be carried over to the new one. Secondly, you may want the existing historical recordings to be transferred to the new one as well. So for the first expectation, unfortunately, unlike UniFi switches, for UniFi Protect camera, Ubiquiti doesn't provide a way to copy the configurations from existing one to a new one. But for a camera, what you can customize is very limited. It's not a big deal to start from scratch, redo your customizing. But for the second wish, which is you may want to see the recordings for your old cameras to be listed in your new one. Unfortunately, that's even more impossible by using the UniFi standard way. I am not aware of a way to do that in UniFi Protect. So in this video, I will explore what I can do in my lab environment. Here I have to state the disclaimer. In this video, whatever I'm going to show you is completely done by myself in my own lab environment using the devices purchased by myself, and I'm just doing it for fun. I'm not suggesting, recommending anyone to do the same or similar thing in their own devices. And whatever I'm going to do is not supported by Ubiquiti. And if you decide to do similar thing to your devices, make your own decision, take your own risks, you need to know what you are doing. Okay, having said that, let's look into my lab environment. This is my lab environment. You can see I have two UniFi Protect cameras for now, and they were both adopted today for testing purpose, but you can see they already run for several hours. And for this G5 flags, let me simulate a hardware failure so that I can use another G5 flags, try to replace it. So now it's showing green, right? Then let me simulate a failure. Now you can see this camera is showing offline. So let's say now I have a new G5 flags, and let me adopt the new one first. Okay, you can see the replacement camera is ready for adoption. Let me add it. See the new G5 flags is ready to be used, and here in the lower part of the screen in the live recording you can see I can see this guy already, right? However, if I try to find the history, no, the latest one start from the time that the camera was adopted. Then where are my old historical recordings? Is still under this grayed out, this offline camera. This camera is still here and it doesn't have live recording, but for all the history, we can still see our Yoda. Okay, this is the default Ubiquiti way. If you don't like it, just like me, you don't like to keep this grayed out offline camera all the time just to have the chance to check the historical recording, and you want all the historical recordings to be transferred under this new camera. I am not aware of a standard Ubiquiti way, but let me see whether I can achieve it manually from the command line. In the left part, I'm going to SSH into the UNVR. Okay, so to transfer the recordings, we need to understand how the recordings are organized, where they are stored. So you may know your hard drive RAID volume is mounted under a folder called volume 1. See the very last folder, so CD to it. If you just ls, you won't see anything. The real content is hidden. If I list all the folders, see this .srv, this is where the storage is. Okay, go to .srv. Let me cd to UniFi Protect. There's a folder called video. Okay, now it's promising because we see a folder for this year, then this month, then today. Okay, so now we see more than 10 files. Remember, this lab environment was just set up for today, so I only have recordings for today. And if you check the file names, you can see, okay, in the middle, if you see rotating, that means the file is for the continuous recording. No matter what, the beginning part, see this part, it may look familiar to you. Yes, they are the MAC address. If I go to our grayed out offline camera, we can still check the MAC address. See the very last 3 digits, 0D, B2, 63. See this one. We have 5 video files for that broken offline camera. And if we check the new one, it's 0D, DE, 8B, which is the last 2. Basically, what we want to achieve is we want to cheat. We want to make UniFi Protect application think these 5 files belong to the new camera. Okay, so we just talked about the first part of the file name is for MAC address, right? And then the third part is a huge number. Its initial look doesn't look like time, right? But it has to be related to time. So you know what? In Linux, there's a thing called Unix timestamp. It's the millisecond starting from 1970, January 1st. If you don't believe it, let me copy a random number. Then in the lower part of the SSH session, what I'm running is I want to use date command, but here I want to convert this huge number from millisecond to second. Then I want to convert it from the Unix timestamp to the time of my local time zone. Let me run it. So if you want, you can also use the -U to display it in UTC. This looks like a correct time. I can confirm at this particular time, the camera was still online. So that makes sense. This number is for this time. Okay, so now we confirm what the file name means, and we find 2 very important clues for us to proceed. The first is the MAC address. The second is the timestamp. Naturally, my next step is to try to change the files which have the MAC address for the offline camera to the new one, to this one, right? So it's simply Linux file rename operation. Let me cd to the root folder for the video. Okay, now I'm under the video folder, right? Before doing anything crazy, before it's too late, let me try to see whether this pattern matches the correct files. So let me run it. Okay, it's correct. It lists exactly 5 video files. So we are good to proceed. This is a long command. Let me explain it. The beginning part is the same. I try to find all the files starting from this video folder, right? Then I will execute a command. What's the command? The command is a bash script. For all the files I find, I will do a move, which is the rename function, right? I will rename the files which has this string, replace it to the new string. What's the new string? The MAC address for my new replacement camera. This 3 part looks strange, but basically this one is a placeholder, and this 2 simply means the find file will collect as many file names as possible and then passes them all at once to the command. Yeah, that's it. Let me run it. Okay, done. Now if I go to the folder again, okay, you can see all the old MAC addresses are renamed to the new MAC address. At this moment, we are done from the video files perspective. It should work now, right? However, in the right side, playback for UniFi Protect, if I refresh for the new camera, of course, it's still recording this guy. If I scroll very hard to the beginning, you can see it simply stopped here. This is the time when I adopted this replacement camera. But all the video files I just renamed from the OS level, they were before this point of time. So which means they are not displayed on the UI because there's a cutover time, which is the time I adopted this replacement camera. We can simply confirm the theory by comparing the Unix timestamp we got from the file name and the time we see from the UniFi playback screen. So in the terminal, let me rerun the previous time conversion command. The time is 12:23. And in the UniFi Protect playback, the start of recording time for the new camera is 3:31 in the afternoon. We have a much tougher task to finish: how we can manipulate this time and force the system to display the video files before this time. To put it another way, how I can move this pointer earlier. So let me see whether I can achieve that. Because there's no direct support from UniFi Protect Web UI, I have to manually update the database. In the SSH, if I go to etc UniFi Protect, you can see there's a folder called JSON-DB. And there are a lot of seemingly promising configuration files. For example, this one caught my eyes because it's for cameras, and this file is very big. Even though the file name is JSON, internally it's not really well formatted, which means everything is in one line. It's not good for human to read. Without installing any external tools, just by using the standard console, I can do this by running Python using the built-in JSON tool, and I can do a pretty format against this cameras.json file, then display with VI. So let me run it. Then if I try to search the IP address of the newly adopted replacement camera, it's this one. Let me copy it. Then in the VI, if I search for it, if I move a little bit earlier, you can see a important field value for this video. Okay, here, connected since. This is the timestamp when I adopted the new replacement camera. This is the cutover time we see in the UniFi Protect playback. We can easily confirm that. See, it's 15:31:13. So in the UniFi Protect, see, this is the exact time I can find for this start of recording. Okay, so these two time match, which means what I really want to do is to update this value to a earlier time. Then this start of recording won't be a stopper for me to display the historical recordings. So that's the idea. However, I cannot simply edit this JSON file hoping the system will use the value. The reason is what we see here is not really the ultimate storage for the database. As I know, the current version of UniFi Protect uses a database called PostgreSQL. No, it's not using Mongo like in UniFi network applications. So we can confirm that in the SSH session. If I run ps and try to find Mongo, see, I don't see anything. However, if I search Postgres, there are many lines returned. This confirms the database is Postgres. Next, what I need to do is connect to Postgres, then update a table. Let me run this command, use psql as a client, and I use this Postgres as the username. This is the database name, UniFi Protect, and this is the port number. We are in. Let me list the available tables. Okay, you may realize they correspond to the JSON files we saw earlier in the JSON-DB folder. The original data is stored in the Postgres database, and then it's dumped to external folder as JSON files later. Okay, then what we want to manipulate is the cameras table. So there are tons of columns in that table, but I am only interested in two columns, the MAC address and the connected since column. Let me run the select statement in this way. Only select two columns from the cameras table. Only two entries have the connected since column populated. Why? We only have two active cameras now. Okay, if you forget about the MAC address for the replacement camera, we can check it now. 0D-DE-8B, which is this one. And see, this value is exactly the same as we saw earlier in the JSON file. So now we confirm this record is the one we want to update. Then next is very simple database update statement. So what I'm running is I want to update the cameras table, set the connected since to a value if the record has the MAC address as this one, which is our newly adopted replacement camera. And now we need to decide what's the new value for the connected scenes. In the lower part of the screen, you can see this is the current value, which doesn't work, right? We want to change it, but change to what? So let me quit the VI session in the lower part of the screen. Let me run this command. What I'm saying is for this particular time, which start from today in my local time zone, and I want to convert it to the Unix timestamp. So let me run it. Okay, I got this number. So let me copy this number and then change the update statement. But here this number is in second, but what I need is millisecond. So I need to add 3 more zeros. Okay, let me run this update statement. Update 1 is successful. Then commit work. Let me make sure it's really updated. Let me quit the pSQL, run it again, select data again. Okay, so I do see this value updated. So we are good from the database perspective. From the UniFi Protect, if I refresh this screen, you can see the start of recording is still the old value. I still cannot see the earlier recording. The value we updated in database is not effective yet. So to make it effective, you may think, okay, let's simply run command like this. Service UniFi Protect restart. Let me try, but I doubt it will work because I doubt the UniFi Protect will refresh all the values from the database. I assume those type of preparation will be done when the console restarted. But let me try this way anyway. Let's see whether it works. The restart is done. Then from the UniFi Protect, let me scroll up. No, it doesn't work. It's still the old value. So to make it really work, I have to go to settings, control plane for console. Let me restart the UNVR. Okay, it's restarted. This time, let me see whether it works. Okay, see, I can scroll to the earlier time and I see lovely Yoda. Welcome back. This pretty much ends the video. So I successfully manually manipulate the database and the recorded file names to make them appear in my new replacement camera. So as I stated earlier in the beginning of the video, I'm not recommending you to do the same. If you insist on trying it, take your own risks. Okay, thanks for watching.